Hey, what's going on? Glad you're here. You got good timing. So I was just going to get into something that you might find a little useful. Scale lengths, right? And this video could end up being funny because I keep fumbling over the word scale length when I have to put them together. So this could turn into a drinking game. I'm done redoing this video. Anyway, before we get into it, do me a favor. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more, definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell, right? That way you get messages whenever we drop a new video. And hopefully YouTube catches on and starts putting those videos out in front of more people, right? So now, scale lengths. What's the big deal with scale lengths, right? Well, the scale length is the length between the nut, where the string comes off the nut, to the point where the string reaches the bridge saddle. Okay, that's the vibrational length of the string. That's your scale length. Okay, and the reason that's important to guitar players is because that goes to our comfort and playability, straight up, and the tone. All right. So how does that work? Well, the longer the scale length, the more tension on that string when it gets to pitch, right? Assuming all guitars we're talking about here are tuned to E standard, which is normal tuning, right? A guitar with a longer scale length is going to have more snap or more bite when you strike the string. Okay, the shorter the scale length from there is, it's going to have a little less, it's going to be a little more loose, a little more relaxed as you strike it, and it's just going to be a little more warmer because of that. Okay, not so much of the pick action will come through it, but we're talking about minuscule stuff, but things that a guitar player notices, especially after they've been playing for a while. Okay, so as a beginner, how is this important to you? This is important to you for your comfort. Okay, you got to find a guitar that's going to fit in your hands right. You got to make sure that you're going to be able to move around well. For some people, this is a shorter scale instrument. For other people, because of their size or whatever, it might be a longer scale instrument. Okay, as well as personal preference for the types of music or whatever, that comes into play as well. So the biggest guy might like a 24 3/4 inch scale. The shortest guy might like a 25 1/2. Personal preference. This is just a guide. Everyone is different. Definitely sit down, play a lot of guitars, experiment, find out what you really like. Okay, so to that end, we're going to talk about 3 guitar companies that have become synonymous with certain string lengths. Okay. Before I jump into those 3, though, I want to talk about the short scale. Okay, these are I'm talking about the shortest of scales. There's ones out there that look like ukuleles, electric ukuleles. They're basically half scale. Okay, and generally not usable unless you really know what you're doing as far as like dealing with stringed instruments. I just stay away. I just tell beginners to stay away from all of those, including the shortest ones and the ones that they call 3/4 scale in general. Okay, and those are the 3/4 scale ones are the ones that are 25 1/2 inch scale. You usually see companies like Ibanez makes them. Fender has a couple, as well as under Squire they have the Mini, that are all roughly 22 1/2 inch scale. Different manufacturers, slightly different here, so it might be 22.5 something or whatever, you know what I mean? But they're all roughly 22 1/2 inch scale, and I generally say stay away from these as well until you're a more accomplished player, simply because you're going to want to put thicker strings on these guitars to make them truly playable. Okay, that's a personal opinion. Some people might come back and say, hey, no, I have mine and it's great with 9s or whatever, and that's great for you. Me, I gotta have 11s on. All right, I've already been there and done that with a couple of different guitars. All right, that Van Gogh right there is the only exception. That the acoustic here, okay, this one, that's but it's an acoustic, so it's going to have more tension to begin with. So even at that short scale, it's got reasonably tight tension, trust me. But all right, anyway, now, so we're done talking about the shortest of scales, right? So now, you know who's got a 22 1/2 inch scale? Fender. Okay, Fender's known for 25 1/2 inch scale, but they have several guitars, including the Duo Sonic is one of them, I believe, please check. Let me know in the comments. That's 22.5-inch scale. Also, they make under the Squire brand, they make the Squire Mini. That's 22.5, maybe slightly different because it's metric, but it's 22.5-inch scale as well. And then they also make guitars in their lineup. A lot of their 60s designs, the offset designs, are also 24-inch scale and 24.75-inch scale. Okay? So they have a lot of different scale lengths, as well as does Gibson. Everyone knows Gibson for the Les Paul, which is 24.75-inch scale, and this is what they've become synonymous with. But they've actually had several guitars that are 24-inch scale, and they're actually fairly popular. But we all think they're the same. The hollow body guitars that in their lineup generally are 24-inch scale. Okay, so there's that, and then on top of that, they've actually made a few guitars in their lineups at certain times that have been 25.5-inch scale. They have a couple of rock guitars that they use. They make Steinberger guitars. They own a couple of. So technically speaking, even if you go into the other brands that they own, they actually still have 25.5-inch scale guitars in their lineup. Okay, even in the Gibson lineup. Okay, even in the Gibson lineup, there's 25.5-inch scale guitars, right? But again, these can be any scale length. The scale length is determined by the design of the guitar and what you're trying to do with it. Okay. Now there's also PRS, right? PRS is Mr. Paul Reed Smith. Mr. Paul Reed Smith had the fortune of being able to be mentored by Mr. I believe it was George McCarty. He is the gentleman who was at the head of Gibson in the late 50s and 60s, and so he's a guy who knows his stuff, and it shows in the PRS guitars because their lineup, to separate themselves and make themselves unique, their lineup is actually a melding of design ideas from both of the other two camps, as well as design elements of their own ideas and their own scale lengths. Well, not their own, but they've come to use very specific scale lengths, 25-inch scale length, and in most of their models. Some of the others are 24.5-inch scale, and then I believe their 594 is 24.594. Okay, so they've decided that's probably the ideal version of 24.75. All right, so all these companies have all this stuff, right? All these different scale lengths. The most important thing for you guys is like I've been saying, go out, play a lot of guitars, sit down. Don't worry if you're lucky enough to sit down in a guitar store. Most of the guys, you let them know what you want to do, and they'll be happy to accommodate you. All right, because in the long run, they want your money, right? And ideally, they want you there for the long haul. Okay, they want you there to buy the instrument and the gear, all the gear, and they want you to sign up for lessons too. Ideally, right? So they're going to be accommodating, right? So don't feel bad about sitting down playing a ton of instruments before you decide to buy one. And try different scale lengths, okay? You'll see the differences that I'm talking about here, okay? So, guys, don't forget, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, definitely hit the like button, okay? Because I know you love these videos, right? And go over to the channel, all right? Check out the jam list, check out the channel lists, check out the master list for RJ's Cave. All the videos are going to be on that list. And there's going to be, if you already know what you like and you want to see all the gear videos, you can just go right to the gear videos. There's a list for that. And if you want to go see more of the chats like this, where it's a little more on the the secondary information side for actual guitar, then that is going to be in the talks. Okay, there'll be just RJ's talks in there. All right, guys, and thank you very much for coming, guys. I'm sorry, I'm thirsty. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate you staying to the end. You really don't know how much that helps. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, all that stuff. Don't forget comments too, guys. Give me ideas. I want to know what's going on with you, and I want to know what ideas you have, what things you want to know about. So please, definitely hit those comments, all right? And even if it's just because you want to make fun of me, all right? But don't forget too, all right? I know I say this a lot, but when you're learning how to make music, you really are learning how to make magic, because when you know how to play an instrument, you can change someone's day in a heartbeat, okay? So Go out. Learn how to make music so you can make magic, okay? This is RJ's Cave. Thanks for coming, guys. I'll see you next time. Later.